Look out! Oh, man! The God Almighty! The God Almighty! They killed him!
Oh my God.
As God is my witness, he is broken in half!
I'm the champ. Welcome back to another video, Street Council guys. And you're probably wondering why I got this little belt on my shoulder. Well, the cat's out the bag. I am a wrestling fan, guys. Yeah, I mean, I don't watch it often nowadays because, you know, that was, yeah. A long time ago, I watched it every week for years. I'm talking about. So, I thought I'd just talk about my journey and where I started with that. I was a big fan for a while. I probably became a fan when I was like 9. And I remember the first time I started watching wrestling was one of my friends. He came to my house after school and he had this game. At that time it was SmackDown. And I remember I was like, oh, this is a cool game. I want to play it. So he was like, yeah, you need a PlayStation, you know. So we had to wait for Christmas to get our PlayStation. So we waited all the way till Christmas. So this is around the time before the year ended. So this is probably like sometime in, you know, March, April of 1999 actually. And so he brought the game over. He brought his PlayStation over, surprisingly. And I remember, yeah. So when he brought the game, we played it. I'm like, oh, this is a dope game. So I'm like, wow, okay, you know, this is cool. I saw wrestling on TV every now and again, like when you flipping the channels. Sometimes I'll stop, but I never actually like stayed too long. I just watched them, you know, flip each other around and talk crap on the microphone, and then that was yeah, that was back in the 90s. I'd say around 96, 97. And I remember after me and him was playing the game, I told him, I was like, you know, I want this game. I want to play this every night too, just like you. You play this every night. I want to play this every night. And he was just like, oh, well, you can't have this game because it's a special game. This is my game. So nobody plays my game. So I was just like, I'm not going to play your game. I want my own. So I asked my mom. I was just like, yeah, Mom, the game that me and I don't remember his name. If he knows himself, he might know if he's watching this video. But other than that, I don't know him anymore. So that's that. But I remember, you know, she was just like, yeah, you know, I'll give you the money for the game. How much is the game? I think it was like 40 something bucks at the time. So she was like, I'll give you the game. I'll give you the money for the game. So me and him went to GameStop. I remember we went straight to GameStop. And he was just like, oh, you know, this game is better. And I was just looking at SmackDown. I was just like, okay. But he was pointing at another game. It was called Power Move. I'll never forget it. Because even when I did get SmackDown, I still played that game. It was weird. Because it was slow. It was generic wrestlers. So they had these generic names, generic clothes. It was so corny. But it passed time. Passed a lot of time. But I remember he was like, it's a better game. So I bought it. And when I got it home, I waited until, well, actually, I think it was an agreement where my mom was just like, yeah, if you get good grades, I'll get the PlayStation early. So something happened where I had got good grades and I got the PlayStation early. And so when I got the PlayStation early, I remember she brought it out, she said, open it up. Me and my brothers and my sister, we was just opening it up. Well, me and my brother and my sister, my youngest brother was still like really small. He was like a baby at the time. So we tearing it open. put the game on, and it's slow. Like, the wrestlers are moving slow. It's awful. I mean, it's awful. We did have a PlayStation before, but it broke. We got it the year before. Coming to think about it, we only played Crash Bandicoot. At that time, that was the only game that we wanted to play, so that was the only game we played. And that was my game. So shout out to Crash Bandicoot. That was the game back then. Playing this game, like, this game really sucks. It's so bad. Like, why would he tell me to get this game? And we came to my house, he was like, look, this game is so fun. Just look at it. Look, isn't this awesome? Like, it's mad fun. This game is fun. Like, bro, you should just play it. And I'm just like, I don't like it. And then at that moment, I knew he tricked me into getting a bad game because he didn't want me getting the same game he had. And after that, I was just like, I don't think I could be friends with him anymore. So I kind of stopped being friends with him for that because I was smart enough to realize when I was being played. That was my earliest memory of starting to become a wrestling fan because I wanted to have that SmackDown game so bad. And when I started playing it, I started watching it on TV. And once I started watching it on TV more, then that's when we got cable. We just started, because SmackDown was only on Channel 9. I remember that was the only network that would play that, one show. So that was the only channel I had before I had cable. So once I got cable, I started watching Raw and stuff like that. We started ordering pay-per-view. Not often, because my mother didn't want to always order pay-per-views. But I think with wrestling, after a while, I just kind of fell away from what was going on. But, I know, for me, I think one of the best moments of wrestling was CM Punk. I think I liked the pipe bomb. Thought that was pretty good. Even though he went to UFC, started fighting, and didn't become as successful as he was in WWE. But I think at that time he could. I mean, he really thought he was gonna go over there and kick some butt. And he did, but it's alright, he tried his best, he tried his best to me, but he stood out as a wrestler that changed everything. But then you got, like, wrestlers like Bruno Sammartino, who revolutionized wrestling. You got Hulk Hogan, who changed what a wrestler could be instead of just a wrestler in the ring and, doing promo. He, did movies. I'm talking about The Rock. The Rock, this guy. He's always been, an icon for a lot of people, especially being in a lot of movies and, stretching that, that opportunity for wrestlers to be able to make that transition. So I thought that was, as being a fan, what I could talk about, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk about being a fan. A lot of people have made me feel very uncomfortable with being a fan because every time you say, oh, let's watch SmackDown, let's watch Raw, let's watch WrestleMania. Oh, come on, man. You go watch that fake? Man, I don't want to watch that. They fake, man. I don't want to watch that, man. Don't turn the TV off. Turn it off. And I'm just sitting there like, I mean, I didn't really have no argument because I knew it was all like staged and put together, but it was still entertaining. I think that's just the purpose of watching it. But people definitely made me feel very uncomfortable with watching wrestling because of their reactions and just, it's so fake. It's so fake. Well, I watch everything else too. I watch UFC. I watch NBA, so it's not like I don't watch other sports. This is just one of the sports that I really like too. And, I'm glad I'm able to just accept it nowadays because, again, growing up, if you weren't a wrestling fan, then you just didn't like wrestling and you always made people feel, and who you are. I know who y'all are. The ones who always be like, oh, that's fake. I can't watch that. It's so corny. It's so corny. It is. But that's the point of it. Like, I don't judge a lot of y'all who sit there and watch Lifetime movies all day. I'm not saying that you can't watch Lifetime movies all day, but just imagine watching these movies one after another, where you kind of know what's going to happen at the end, and you kind of expect in the beginning, and it's just comical. But I don't judge people, watch what you watch. But at the time growing up, it was just hard because I didn't have a lot of people, you know, I could be friends with and talk about wrestling with often. But I did have my sister. She stopped watching years ago after a while, once the diva transition happened, when they actually started wrestling and fighting and showing less. She kind of stopped watching it after that. I mean, I don't know if she was turned off by just them wrestling, but she was always she was always opposite of violence. So when she actually saw women really being violent, hitting each other with chairs and putting each other through tables, I think she was just kind of like, I think I'm cool. But it got even after a certain point. I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, I went to a live show. I went to SmackDown at the Prudential Center. Um, I went alone because at that time, again, I didn't think nobody was gonna go with me, so I just went by myself. And it was a good show. I mean, they put on the show. It's entertaining. It's not like you have to sit there and just get entertained by the wrestling match, because the wrestling match, from what I saw, and where you sit, I had a good seat too. I had a really good seat, and from where you're sitting, you do see them wrestling, but the padding, like everything is not like you can hear them getting slammed. I think it's like mics under the ring. I'm not too sure about that. Anybody who knows about that, put your comments down section below. But I think there's mics under the ring where you hear them getting slammed and stuff like that. So it does make it more impactful. But for the most part, I mean, it's not the focus. It's the entrances and the promos and the craziness that goes on that makes it entertaining, not just the wrestling match itself. Even though that's just the primary focus. There's a lot of other things that'll take you out of focus of just expecting a wrestling match. You actually don't really expect a wrestling match because there's so much going on, and then once somebody's music hits, you're like, okay, there's about to be a match. Usually when that bell rings, you're like, okay, there's about to be a match. And it's just so weird. Like, you're at a wrestling match, well, a wrestling a wrestling taping, and it's just funny that each time you're kind of surprised that it's about to be a match. Once you hear that bell, you hear my music, you go, oh, it's about to be a match. Oh, okay. Because I just got caught up in this little moment that y'all just had with the promos and putting people all over the place, so I just thought that was funny. But I mean, you could take a look at the clip. This is one of my favorite people in wrestling. Yeah, Shane McMahon. He's my guy. I've been rocking with him for a while. He moves like he's like really one of the wrestlers. I'm sure he is one of the wrestlers. I'm sure he trained with them, but being that he's the owner's son and we've been introduced to him as like this corporate guy, and to see him come where he came from is impressive. So you guys, I just wanted to talk about how comfortable I am in my own skin as being a fan now. Back then it was very difficult for me to be a fan. So being that it was very difficult for me to be a fan, I just couldn't accept a lot of scrutiny behind me being a fan. But I've actually gotten to a point where it's okay to be a fan. You have some really good wrestlers and some good talent. We're talking about Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair. Just in case y'all didn't know how good she is. John Morrison, I heard he just came back. I actually saw a clip of him coming back, and he looks pretty dang on good for somebody who just came back after years of being away. Goldberg, he's scheduled for the next WrestleMania. I mean, come on. I mean, The Undertaker, he still wrestles. Like, it's crazy how he's still wrestling. He's an older gentleman, and I'm sure he could retire and go into Hall of Fame anytime, but he's probably like, nah, that's not gonna happen. I'm still gonna keep tombstoning niggas. All of the talent that's out now, NXT, y'all doing y'all thing too. I watch. I'm here. I got the network. You guys, I'm comfortable in being a fan, and if that makes you uncomfortable, then I'm sorry to tell you. Champ is here. So if you like this video, guys, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think, what I should react to next. I might add some wrestling clips into my reactions, and talk about some real issues in wrestling. We could talk about issues about CM Punk's pipe bomb. They talk about Owen Hart's death and how that could have been prevented. The Montreal Screwjob, we could talk about that, which is a pretty good discussion to talk about. We can talk about some deeper stuff. There's some deeper stuff that, talking about how Vince could be slightly racist.
Boss? How you doing?
Yeah. What's good in the hood?
Just holding it down, trying to take care of business.
Keep it up, I'm a nigga.
That might be a good conversation to bring up.
Tell me he didn't just say.
You guys, thanks for listening. Street Council out. Thank you. Thank you. Street Council out. Let's talk.